See this bike right here? It isn't perfect. I've had it for more than a year now and put almost 10,000 miles on it. I think it's time that we talked about 5 things that I don't like about this thing. Oh yeah, and if you stick around to the end, I'll give you 1 extra bonus about what my wife thinks about this. I recently made a video that apparently a lot of you like about how awesome this bike is, but Harley did make a few mistakes. There's not a perfect bike that I've ever run into. So today we're gonna relax in the garage, enjoy a nice cold day, and talk about some things that I do not like about the Sportster S. I don't know if these things are R&D related or if none of the techs decided to like take this bike home and actually ride it for a month or 2, like, you know, us, the customers. But there's one thing overall that is just annoying. It's never let me down. It's not necessarily a reliability thing, but the starter clutch on this bike sucks. That's what it's supposed to sound like. Sometimes when you turn the bike on, this happens. Yeah, I know, annoying, right? All you do, recycle the ignition off, turn it back on, and now, all of a sudden, I don't know what the cause of that is. Literally, it doesn't start, and then you click the button again, recycle the ignition, and the bike turns on. It's never left me stranded. It's just annoying, really. I believe there's a recall for it or something along those lines. Don't quote me on it. Ask your local Harley dealership. But if I remember correctly, there is a bulletin out that some starter clutches are weak. I'm guessing this is one of them. On to the next one. These bar end mirrors. They are terrible. I don't know if they really didn't ride or test these things, but right up in here, where the nut actually holds it in place, it's flush, it's flat. There's nothing holding it in place, just the pressure of this nut at the bottom. I've put lock washers at the top, lock washers at the bottom. As you can see there, I've tried to stick a piece of metal and a piece of paper inside of this to make it not smooth. They really should have just put some sort of knurl or groove on here, because while you're riding on the highway, this happens. And I don't think that there's anything much more annoying than when you go like this, your mirrors go like this, so you can't see what's behind you. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't know how much you guys actually know about engine parts and designs, but with this engine, Harley decided to use hydraulic lifters, hence no valve adjustment. That's part of the marketing, that's part of what they sold. You don't have to come in, you do not have to maintain it. Now me, as a car enthusiast and an automotive enthusiast, I do love 2 wheels, but I love 4 wheels as well. I've had some experience with the OG LS engines, the 5.3s. That was pretty much my first experience with hydraulic lifters. And it may save you some dollars up front and valve adjustments, but it does not save you dollars over time when those hydraulic lifters fail. Essentially, on this engine, the camshaft is up here, spinning, opens and closes the valves. Between the camshaft and that valve, there is a lifter. Normally, you have an adjustment to keep that from actually resting on your valve itself. With this, there is essentially oil that goes into this lifter, which keeps pressure on the valve, which would be down here. Your camshaft would be up here, and this is full of oil. And that oil, while your engine has pressure, keeps this pushed on the valve. Therefore, you don't have to adjust that mechanical gap between the cam and the actual valve itself. Great idea, except the oil seal in here, that breaks. So what ends up happening is that this is now like free flowing back and forth because the oil isn't actually holding pressure on the valve like it's supposed to. And it works perfectly fine. But this design over time really does end up failing. It does not affect me now, but at some point down the line, that's gonna need to get fixed, and it's gonna cost a lot more than removing a valve cover and doing a valve adjustment because it's a design flaw. But it's also the reason that the engine makes that weird little clickety clattery noise whenever you first turn it on, something like this. Another minor annoyance is this thing. Harley says this is a 3.1 gallon gas tank. And when I go to the gas station and fill up from literally the last little red bar, the last little bit of everything that you have where the bike basically stops reading that you have any sort of mile per gallon left on your trip, it's like 1.8 gallons. So I got bored one day and brought an extra bottle of gasoline and decided to run this thing completely dry past the point where it said it had no gasoline at all. And I started my trip meter from there. I ran an extra 50 miles before I personally got uncomfortable with how far I was pushing this thing. That was 250 miles to the tank. Long behold, when I go to the gas station and I fill up, it is 2.4 gallons from that point. So for some reason, there is at a minimum, at least half a gallon of fuel that does not get read by the fuel level sensor. So this bike gets about 110, 120 miles to the tank with the normal reading, when in reality, it could probably be closer to 150, 160 if this thing could actually read the fuel correctly. I don't know if you guys can see this, but you see this nice big fancy radiator that goes all the way from this side, which you can't see, all the way to this side. It's essentially wider than, actually, now that I look at it, it's basically the widest point on the bike on both sides. The fan for this ginormous radiator is right here. It's not really that big, but this is the fan right there. I don't know if you can see this, but foot peg, fan, foot peg. All of the hot radiator heat gets blown onto your left leg, the shifter leg. And it's not on the other side, and there's not even a fan that goes to the other side. It's just right here. The air blows right onto your leg, which is right here because this is the footrest. So my left leg is basically baking while the radiator's on, which is basically always because I live in Florida. At least my VFR takes care of baking the opposite leg because it does exactly the same thing, but on the right side. So we're even. So those are 5 things that I do not like about the Sportster S. Like I said, I've owned it for a year, almost 10,000 miles on it. And it's always taken care of me. It really has. And I don't like to nitpick things, to be very honest with you. But a lot of these things just seem to be dumb design flaws. Like whoever assembled this bike, designed this bike, did not take it home and ride it. They didn't ride it for a month. They didn't ride it for a week. It's like all of their R&D was done on the parts individually, and then they just put them together into one machine. Like they tested the engine in one environment. They tested the transmission in another environment, and they didn't actually put it together and see how it ran together as a package. At least it's how I feel, because all of these things are real small annoyances that had you taken this bike and ridden it every day for a month, or at least let your techs ride it for a month, you would have figured out that these are basic issues that have very, very simple solutions. Or they figured it out a little bit too late down the product line and it's just fuck everyone. So, oh yeah, I also forgot. Let me go get my wife. Bonus time. My wife thinks that
this, if you're a backpack, will break your backpack. Well, no, it'll break your back. Like really bad. So no back seat. No backpack on Sportster S. Don't do it. Don't do it.
So there you have it.
Don't do it.
Thank you guys for watching. See you on the next one.